My name is Jake, I'm 22 years old. And this is the story of how an invisible intern saved a company from losing $80 million. It all started on a Monday in September, when I started my internship at Peterson & Associates, one of the country's largest financial consulting firms. It was my last semester in economics college, and getting this internship was like winning the lottery. At least that's what I thought. On the first day, I was introduced to Mr. Williams, director of the risk analysis department, who would be my supervisor. He barely looked at me when we shook hands. "You'll work with Sarah's team. She'll explain what needs to be done. Remember, interns don't speak in meetings, don't give unsolicited opinions, and do exactly what we tell them. Understood?" I nodded silently. Sarah was a senior analyst in her mid-30s, efficient but always seeming stressed. She showed me my desk, a small workstation in the corner of the room far from everyone else. "Jake, your job will be quite simple. You'll receive data, organize it in spreadsheets, do basic consistency checks, and deliver everything organized to me. Nothing too complicated." In the first few days, I did exactly that. I received mountains of financial data, organized everything in spreadsheets, checked if the numbers matched, and delivered it to Sarah. It was repetitive work, but I was learning a lot about how the company worked. Peterson & Associates managed investments for large corporations. Our department was responsible for analyzing risks of billion-dollar investments. Every decision we made could mean millions of dollars in profit or loss for our clients. After 2 weeks working in silence, I started noticing some strange patterns in the data I was organizing. There was a series of investments in energy sector companies that caught my attention. The numbers seemed too good to be true. I decided to investigate on my own during my lunch break. I accessed public databases, read financial reports from the companies, analyzed market trends. The more I researched, the more worried I became. The companies we were investing millions in on behalf of our clients had questionable financial histories. Some had recently changed names, others had executives with dubious pasts. But what worried me most were the revenue projections they presented. They were completely unrealistic for the current market. I tried to talk to Sarah about my findings, but she was always too busy to listen to me. "Jake, you're here to organize data, not to do complex analyses. If there were any problems, our senior analysts would have already detected them." But I couldn't stop thinking about those numbers. During weekends, I continued researching at home. I discovered that several of the companies in our investment portfolio had connections to each other that weren't being disclosed in official reports. It was as if there was a hidden network of companies artificially inflating their numbers to attract investors. And our company was about to invest $80 million of our clients' money in these companies. After a month of silent research, I decided I needed to do something. I created a detailed report with all my findings. I included charts, tables, risk analyses, everything documented with reliable sources. The report was 43 pages long and clearly showed that the investments we were about to make were extremely dangerous. In the best-case scenario, our clients would lose 50% of the invested money. In the worst case, they would lose everything. I took the report to Sarah on a Thursday morning. She looked at the pile of papers with irritation. "Jake, how many times do I need to tell you? You're not here to do analyses. Your job is to organize data." "Sarah, please just take a look. I think there's something very wrong with these investments." She sighed and took the report, quickly flipping through the pages. "Jake, this is senior analyst work. You don't have the experience or knowledge to do this type of analysis. Besides, these investments have already been approved by our best specialists." "But Sarah, look at these numbers." "Jake, enough. You're overstepping your boundaries. Focus on your work and stop trying to do other people's jobs." She put my report in a drawer and didn't talk about it anymore. I was frustrated, but I didn't give up. I decided to try talking to Mr. Williams directly. I scheduled a meeting with him for Friday. "Mr. Williams, thank you for seeing me. I prepared a report about some investments our company is considering, and I think there are serious problems that need to be analyzed." He looked at me with a completely disinterested expression. "Jake, you're an intern. You've been here for only a month. Do you really think you discovered something that our analysts with years of experience didn't see?" "Sir, I know I'm just an intern, but the data clearly shows that..." "Jake, I'll be direct with you. Our clients are about to make very profitable investments. We have a team of specialists who analyzed everything in detail. Your role here is to learn by observing, not to question decisions made by people much more qualified than you. He didn't even look at my report. Now I suggest you go back to your desk and focus on the work assigned to you. And Jake, I don't want any more conversations about analyses you're not qualified to do. I left his office completely discouraged. It seemed like nobody was willing to listen to me just because I was the intern. In the following days, I continued doing my routine work, but I couldn't stop thinking about the problematic investments. I knew I was right, but I had no way to convince anyone to listen to me. On Tuesday of the following week, I heard Sarah talking with other analysts about the investments. The company was finalizing the contracts, and the money would be transferred on Friday. $80 million of our clients' money was about to disappear. That night, I made a decision that could cost me my internship. I decided to bypass the hierarchy and send my report directly to the company's CEO. I got Mr. Peterson's email through the company's internal system. I wrote a message explaining my situation and attached my complete report. I knew I was risking everything, but I couldn't stay silent watching $80 million being wasted. Mr. Peterson, my name is Jake Morrison. I'm an intern in the risk analysis department. I know it may seem inappropriate for an intern to contact you directly, but I discovered critical information about investments our company is about to make. I believe our clients are at risk of losing $80 million. Please analyze the attached report. I know I'm just an intern, but the data is concrete and verifiable. I sent the email at 10:30 at night and went to sleep, not knowing if I had done the right thing or if I had just destroyed my career before it even began. The next morning I arrived at the office expecting to be fired at any moment, but the day passed normally. Sarah gave me work as always. Mr. Williams didn't even look in my direction. Everything seemed the same. On Thursday morning I was organizing data when my phone rang. It was the CEO's secretary. Jake Morrison? Mr. Peterson would like to see you in his office immediately. My heart raced. I went up to the top floor of the building where the CEO's office was located. I had never been there before. Mr. Peterson was a man in his 60s, gray hair, impeccable suit. His office was huge with a panoramic view of the city. Jake, please sit down. He had my report open on the desk, several pages marked with yellow post-its. Jake, I read your report. Twice, actually. Could you explain to me how a 22-year-old intern discovered problems that our team of senior analysts didn't detect? Mr. Peterson, I wouldn't say I discovered something they didn't see. Maybe they saw it but didn't consider it important, or maybe... Jake, be honest with me. What exactly did you do to reach these conclusions? I told him everything. The research during lunch breaks, the weekends studying at home, the databases I consulted, the connections I discovered between companies. Interesting. And you tried to share this information with your supervisors? Yes, sir. I tried to talk to Sarah and Mr. Williams, but they said I was overstepping my boundaries as an intern. Mr. Peterson remained silent for a few minutes, analyzing my report. Jake, I'll be direct. If your analyses are correct, you just saved our company and our clients from a devastating loss. But if they're wrong, you've caused a very delicate situation. Sir, I checked everything multiple times. I'm certain of the data. Very well. I'll ask our external audit team to verify your findings. Meanwhile, the investments are suspended. Mr. Peterson, may I ask something? Of course. Why did you decide to listen to me when nobody else would? He smiled for the first time since I entered the room. Jake, I've been in this business for over 30 years. I learned that sometimes the best ideas come from people everyone ignores. And your report, regardless of whether you're an intern or CEO, is one of the most detailed risk analysis works I've ever seen. On Friday morning, the external audit confirmed all my findings. The companies we were going to invest in were part of an elaborate scheme to defraud investors. If we had proceeded with the investments, our clients would have lost $80 million within 6 months. Mr. Peterson called an emergency meeting with the entire risk analysis department team. I was there, sitting at the meeting table next to the directors and senior analysts who had ignored me for weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to the work of Jake Morrison, our intern, we avoided one of the biggest mistakes in this company's history. The expressions in the room varied between surprise, shame, and embarrassment. Sarah was visibly uncomfortable and Mr. Williams looked like he wanted to disappear. Jake not only identified serious problems in investments we were about to make, but also prepared a more complete and detailed analysis than anything this department has produced in the last 6 months. Mr. Peterson continued explaining how my discoveries had revealed a fraud network involving several energy sector companies. Starting today, Jake will be promoted to junior analyst, with full salary and responsibilities compatible with his demonstrated ability. After the meeting, Sarah approached me. "Jake, I need to apologize. I should have listened to you when you tried to show me your findings." "Sarah, I understand. You had your responsibilities and hierarchies to follow." "No, Jake. The truth is I underestimated you for being an intern. I thought you couldn't have anything important to contribute. It was prejudice on my part." Mr. Williams also came to talk to me, but his approach was different. "Jake, you understand that you bypassed the hierarchy by sending that report directly to the CEO, don't you?" "Yes, sir, I know I broke protocol." "And you understand that this would normally result in immediate dismissal?" "Yes, sir." "Well, fortunately for you, saving $80 million compensates for the protocol breach. But next time, try to follow appropriate channels first." In the following months, my life at the company changed completely. As a junior analyst, I had access to more complex information, participated in important meetings, and my opinions were respected and considered. I discovered that my report not only saved the initial $80 million, but also helped other investment companies avoid the same fraudulent scheme. Federal authorities opened an investigation that resulted in the arrest of 17 executives involved in the fraud. 6 months later, Mr. Peterson called me to his office again. "Jake, how are you adapting to the new position?" "Very well, Mr. Peterson. I'm learning a lot and feel valued by the team." "Great. I have a proposal for you. When you graduate, I'd like to offer a permanent position as senior analyst with a starting salary of $90,000 annually." I couldn't hide my surprise. It was more than I dreamed of earning in my first 5 years of career. "Mr. Peterson, this is incredible. I accept without hesitation." "Jake, may I give you some advice?" "Of course, sir." "Never lose that characteristic you have of questioning, investigating, not accepting things simply because someone with more experience said it's right. That's what saved our company." "Thank you, Mr. Peterson. I promise to always continue doing my best work." A year later, I was established as one of the company's most respected analysts. I had identified several other potential problems, always with the same careful method of research and detailed analysis. Sarah, who initially ignored me, became one of my biggest supporters. We worked together on several projects, and she always credited my contributions publicly. "Jake, you taught me an important lesson about not underestimating people based on their hierarchical position," she told me during an evaluation. Mr. Williams also changed his attitude, although it took longer. He eventually recognized that his hierarchical rigidity almost cost the company dearly. 2 years after the incident that changed my career, I was promoted to Risk Analysis Manager. I was responsible for a team of 8 analysts, including new interns. Whenever a new intern arrived at the department, I made sure to have a private conversation with them. "Your main job is to learn and execute the tasks they give you. But if you notice something that seems strange, something that doesn't make sense, or if you have an idea you believe is important, I want you to come talk to me. It doesn't matter if you've been here for a day or a year. Good ideas can come from anywhere." Many colleagues commented that I was very accessible with interns, but I knew from personal experience how frustrating it was to have something important to contribute and not be heard. During those 2 years, 3 different interns brought observations that resulted in significant improvements in our processes. An intern named Maria identified a flaw in our data verification system that had been going unnoticed for months. Another intern, David, suggested a new way to organize reports that increased our efficiency by 20%. "Jake," Mr. Peterson told me during an annual meeting, "your department has the best problem detection rate in the company. What do you attribute this to? Mr. Peterson, I learned that intelligence and good ideas don't depend on position or experience. When you create an environment where everyone feels comfortable contributing, you multiply the problem detection capacity. 3 years after saving the company from losing $80 million, I received an unexpected proposal. A competing company wanted to hire me as Director of Risk Analysis, with a salary of $200,000 annually. It was a tempting offer, but I decided to talk to Mr. Peterson before making any decision. Jake, I can't say I'm surprised. You've become one of the most valuable people in this company. Mr. Peterson, this company gave me the opportunity to grow when I was just an intern ignored by everyone. I don't want to leave, but Jake, I understand perfectly. It's a very attractive financial offer. Actually, sir, it's not just about money. It's also about growth opportunities. Mr. Peterson was thoughtful for a few minutes. Jake, what if I offer you the position of Vice President of Risk Analysis with a salary of $180,000 annually, profit sharing in the company, and total autonomy to structure the department as you see fit? Mr. Peterson, that would change everything. I accept the proposal. Great. There's just one condition. What, sir? I want you to implement throughout the company the culture of listening to and valuing contributions from all employees, regardless of hierarchy. I want you to transform what happened to you into an official company policy. And that's exactly what I did. I created the Ideas Without Hierarchy program, where any employee, from intern to director, could submit suggestions, analyses, or problem identification directly for evaluation. In the first 6 months of the program, we received 142 suggestions. 41 of them were implemented, resulting in savings of more than $5 million for the company. One of the most impactful suggestions came from a night cleaning employee who noticed that several printers stayed on all night unnecessarily. His observation resulted in an energy-saving policy that reduced our operational costs by $15,000 annually. Another suggestion came from a receptionist who noticed patterns in client call schedules and proposed a reorganization of service that improved our response efficiency by 30%. Jake, Mr. Peterson told me during our annual meeting, the Ideas Without Hierarchy program not only improved our financial results but also transformed the company culture. People feel more valued and engaged. Mr. Peterson, it was just a matter of applying on a large scale what I learned when I was an intern. Every person has potential to contribute significantly, regardless of their position. 5 years after entering as an intern, I was established as vice president of one of the country's largest financial consulting firms. My story became a kind of internal company legend, always told to new employees as an example that good ideas can come from anywhere. But what I was most proud of wasn't my professional rise, but the cultural changes I helped implement. The company had become a place where everyone felt comfortable contributing, questioning, and suggesting improvements. During an industry conference, I was invited to tell my story. The auditorium was full of executives, analysts, and economics students. The most important lesson I learned, I told the audience, wasn't about financial analysis or risk detection. It was about the importance of listening. When you create a culture where people feel safe to share their ideas, you're not just being democratic, you're being intelligent. I explained how my experience as an ignored intern taught me that talent and intelligence exist at all levels of an organization. If I had been heard the first time I tried to share my discoveries, maybe I wouldn't have developed such a detailed report. But if my supervisors had been completely closed to my contributions, our company would have lost $80 million. After the talk, several young professionals approached to ask questions. One student particularly caught my attention. Mr. Morrison, what would you say to someone who is starting their career and feels ignored at work? First thing, continue doing your main job excellently. Second, if you really believe you have something important to contribute, document everything in detail. Third, be persistent but respectful. And finally, remember that sometimes being underestimated can be an advantage because people lower their guard, and you can see things they don't see. Another young person asked about how to deal with superiors who don't listen. There are several strategies. First, Try to understand why they're not listening. Is it prejudice? Is it ego? Is it fear of being questioned? Then, adapt your approach. If it doesn't work through normal channels, sometimes you need to be creative, but always document everything and always make sure your contributions really add value. 10 years after my story began, I created my own consulting company, specializing in risk analysis and organizational culture. My experience as an ignored intern who saved $80 million became my main credential. The company grew quickly, and today we have offices in 5 cities. Our differential is exactly the culture of listening to all employees and valuing contributions regardless of hierarchy. We hire many interns and young professionals, always giving them real opportunities to contribute from day one. Several of our best ideas and solutions came from people with less than 2 years of experience. Sarah, my former supervisor, came to work with me as operations director. During our hiring conversation, she said something I'll never forget. "Jake, working with you taught me that leading isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating an environment where the best answers can emerge from anywhere." Today, when I tell my story to students and young professionals, I always end with the same message. Never let anyone diminish you because of your age, experience, or hierarchical position. If you have something important to contribute, find a way to be heard. And when you reach leadership positions, remember how you felt when nobody listened to you. My journey from ignored intern to successful entrepreneur taught me that success doesn't come only from technical knowledge or networking. It comes from the ability to see what others don't see, from the persistence to investigate when something doesn't make sense, and from the courage to speak when necessary. But mainly, it taught me that one of the biggest failures of organizations is wasting the potential of people they consider less important. Because sometimes, it's exactly these people who have the clearest vision of the problems that need to be solved. The company that almost lost $80 million by ignoring its intern learned a valuable lesson. And I learned that being underestimated can be transformed into the greatest competitive advantage of your life.